What's going on, guys? Tokusatsu here, and let me tell you, today is a good day to be a Toku fan, because this weekend we had Anime Expo, and we had Team Kamen Rider, and also Shout Factory there representing Tokusatsu, and they had a lot of news to give us. So first off, I think the two biggest things we have to talk about are Blu-ray and DVD releases. That being a Blu-ray release for Kamen Rider Kuuga, and also a DVD release for Chikyu Sentai Fiveman, after a 3-year dry spell of having no new Super Sentai releases under Shout Factory. Kuuga I could kind of see coming because they've been steadily releasing Rider for the past 2 years now, and they recently just started doing Blu-rays with 01. And being how the pre-orders for that one sold out day one, mind you, I figured it wouldn't be too long before their next release. But Fiveman I think was the biggest surprise here, because before they had stopped doing DVDs for Sentai, they actually teased it prior after they released Jetman, and then when Hasbro bought the Power Rangers franchise back in 2018, I guess something in the contract forced them to halt releases until they could come to some kind of compromise. That being so, Fiveman is actually going to be DVD exclusive only, so that means they're not going to stream it on Shout Factory or Tubi or any other platform. So you just have to buy the box set if you want to watch it. And of course, we already know that Kuuga is already streaming on all those platforms. But between the two, I ended up ordering Kuuga first, and I might go for Fiveman later, because I feel like Kuuga is more so the better show of the two, obviously. Plus, just like with 01, you do get a poster with your purchase as well, which I do plan to frame. But Fiveman, I will come back to eventually. It's just a matter of when and when I can catch up on the previous releases, because I kind of stopped after, I want to say, Mega Ranger. So I still got to get Ginga Man, Go-Go 5, Time Ranger, and Gala Ranger and Hurricaneer. So yeah, those guys. But both Fiveman and Kuuga are up for pre-order on Shout Factory right now, and I'll provide a link in the description. So next up we have the announcement for Kamen Rider Black Sun getting a North American release. And as you know, Black Sun is the reboot to Kamen Rider Black. So we don't have any official word on where it's going to stream, but I'm guessing since the original release is going to be on Amazon Prime Japan, it's not too much of a stretch to say that it'll probably be on Amazon Prime here as well. No exact release date either, so we don't know if it'll be a simulcast or if they'll release it later. I know the segment's a bit short, but that's honestly all I have on this one. But along with the announcement for Black Sun, we were also teased with a possible North American release of Shin Kamen Rider. And this is going to be the reboot film of the original series released March of next year. So we have no idea what this looks like, whether it will be theatrical or just a home release. But what's important here is the possibility of us probably getting it. Now mind you, this news comes as sort of a collaboration between Team Kamen Rider and also Shout Factory. So it's going to be a mix-up of both when I talk about the news here. So last night we also had the world premiere of Kamen Rider Futo PI, the first 2 episodes, and this is the anime adaptation to the sequel manga for Kamen Rider Double. Now, as of this recording, I or anyone else that has not attended Anime Expo has not seen this, so I couldn't tell you what any of it entails, but from what I'm seeing on Twitter, it's getting pretty good feedback, so that's good to know. But the rest of us will just have to wait until it comes out on Crunchyroll. So this next one is coming from Stonebot and Titan Comics, and it's just a bit of a reminder about the Kamen Rider Kuuga Volume 1 manga releasing November 2022. And on top of that, the 01 comic is coming out fall of 2022. There's no specific month listed, but that's just what it says. But it's going to have an original storyline and a villain, and it's going to take place during the show, so it's not going to be a sequel of any sort. And it's being penned by writer Brandon Easton, who has worked on Marvel's Agent Carter, Overwatch 2, and Vampire Hunter D, Message from Mars. And the artist is going to be Hendry Procetta. Sorry if I'm butchering that name, but they have worked on Power Rangers, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern for DC Comics. And along with that, we also got some sneak peek at the character designs for 01, and also the original villain called Ragnarok. So 01 looks about the same, I'd say. And mind you, these aren't finalized designs, so this could change anytime between now and the fall. Now Ragnarok looks really awesome. I'm really digging the tattered cape, and also the like the thunder design going across like his entire chest area. I can't quite make out what the belt is, but it looks like some kind of hidden intelligence design. And I dig the helmet as well. It looks very similar to Metal Cluster Hopper. So I gotta say, I'm a bit disappointed that this won't be a sequel to the actual series, because it's gonna be a bit weird to have them try and fit this into the show's narrative, especially with Ragnarok being an original villain. So of course there will be no mention of him. But I'm still looking forward to this anyway, because it's still like a really big push for Kamen Rider in the States, and I just have to support it. And you should too. So just be sure to check out Kamen Rider 01 from Comics Titan in the fall. So last thing we have is an announcement for a crossover between Ultraman and Marvel Comics. So as you know, we had 2 previous miniseries for Ultraman released under Marvel called The Rise of Ultraman and The Trials of Ultraman. But this time they're actually going to cross over with Marvel characters in this new miniseries, and this is coming from Tsuburaya Productions' official global website. And in the article it states that it is an untitled Marvel Ultraman Universe crossover, and it'll be the 4th title to come out of the collaboration between Tsuburaya Productions and Marvel Comics. So the 3rd one is yet to be released, and that will be The Mystery of Ultra 7, and that'll be on sale this August, which is also mentioned in here. And Marvel's editor-in-chief, CB Sobolski, and VP and executive editor Tom Brevoort. Sorry, like these names are so hard for me. Transmedia producer Jeff Gomez, and series co-writers Kyle Higgins and Matt Groom have come together to make this happen. The deal was negotiated by Danny Simon of the licensing group. So continuing, the crossover series will take place within the continuity of the current Marvel Ultraman comics. So I'm guessing that's not going to be 616 then. But it's going to be drawing on the thematic comparisons between the stoic heroism of the Ultras and Marvel's earthly champions. No kaiju or supervillains were announced, but concept art unveiled during Anime Expo teased classic spiked kaiju Bemular. Further details of the storyline are still under wraps. So I think it's just really crazy just how mainstream Toku is starting to become, because now Ultraman is getting a crossover with the Marvel superheroes, basically the Avengers technically, because in this photo we got Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, Iron Man, and I'm sure there'll be more in the actual story too. Then we have the return of Super Sentai DVDs with Fiveman, so now we have the big 3 of Tokusatsu being Sentai, Ultraman, and Kamen Rider on home media in the United States. Like, I think this is the first time where we've had all 3 franchises currently releasing content at the same time from Shout Factory. That's just crazy. In a good way, of course. Then we have an original comic, not manga, a comic for 01 that's going to be specifically for the North American audience. Almost feels like an adaptation in a sense. And then, of course, we do have an actual manga coming for Kuuga, but that's more so just a translation. But that's still really awesome that we're like getting all this stuff, though. Then the Futo PI anime, which I know like all of us cannot wait to see, because I never thought that in a million years Kamen Rider would have an anime, apart from that one SD film back in the 90s, but that's a different story. And then also the possible simulcast for Black Sun and also Shin Kamen Rider. So, yeah, basically, Tokusatsu has made it, guys. Like, 10 years ago, like, you couldn't find anyone that knew what the hell Kamen Rider was, but now, like, you at least know someone that has a friend that watches it. I just feel like we're finally being seen and recognized as a fandom, and I'm just so proud of that, though. And words just can't describe how I feel about that. But I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, so as always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to like my Facebook page, Meals Tokusatsu. We're also on Twitter and Instagram. And this is Meals Tokusatsu, signing off.